wave. 222 is come and gone.
Surprise! Surprise! Surprise!
After he's stalked, we must get rid of him immediately.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale.
Your papers, please.
This is insane.
Good morning.
Quality, quantity, and variety.
ROCKFLUX.
Let's get this show on the road. The only station that matters.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, back to the way it was. I tried yesterday. I tried. How many people tried before you? Many more. What happened to them? They tried and died. Yeah. I don't know. 222 came and went. I do not see peace on earth or kumbaya. At one point towards the end, I turned on the Unify broadcast. They were using some kind of Zoom thing. I mean, this is pathetic that, you know, a movement of peace and love and stuff like that. And there were 5 people watching the live broadcast at around 6 o'clock or something like that. Now, I don't know if that's because I'm on the East Coast and it was, but on the West it would have been, maybe it was because it was after 222. I don't know. But I think at the height of it, it wasn't like I saw millions or tens of thousands. My upper right quadrant feels okay, but my left quadrant, heart area, doesn't feel okay today. So you go figure that out today. I don't know. The title of this show is I've decided to just eat healthy, eliminate stress, and wing it. And there's a chat in there that I put in the mystery of life. Just ... Here we are. Somehow the Tony Caravan live graphic doesn't seem to fit. It should show me what that is, by the way. And I can't really kind of figure out what it is. I know I replaced something. It's not that. I replaced an existing thing with it. I do this. I wouldn't have called it Resist 2. No. It would have to be something that was selected. It would have to be something that would be in the foreground. And it's not that. It couldn't be Black Box. It couldn't be ROCKFLUX. It couldn't be Hoodie. I don't know what it is. I don't even know what that thing is. I don't even know how to turn it off. Is it daily photo? Okay, it's daily photo. So let's look at filters on daily photo, and let's see if we go to color correction, saturate it a little more. U shift towards, usually neon. I mean, you wouldn't see that kind of neon. You're more likely to see like a red neon, I think, right? Maybe pull the opacity, keep the saturation up. Let's try that for a while. See if that kind of works in the mix. That's the way it used to look back in the 90s. See the glow coming off it. Anyway, so here we are. It's 3:17 in the morning. I'm just trying to hold on to life. A friend of mine called, wanted me to help with a website. And between that, he called right around the time when I wanted to do that 2-something meditation. Between that and I got a couple of buckets of water because it rained yesterday and all of this kind of stuff. I still have my email program open. Of course, it's telling me that I'm live. And I see he just sent me a bunch of pictures to do on this website. And I'm going to have to tell him, and if you're listening in, man, I can't do this. I no longer can, it's not this.
I can no longer sit back and allow communist infiltration, communist indoctrination, communist subversion, and the international communist conspiracy.
You know, that's part of it, but that's not part of it. I mean, the idea is I just have to have fun or I'm going to die. You know, or I have to have fun before I just banged my knee on this stupid metal desk. That this whole structure is built for this cat. I groomed myself today, including my nose. You know, like this used to be a barbershop years ago. So I basically, I don't know, I'm taking on characteristics of the barber. I wrote a horror story in my latest book. It's just a short, very short story. It's not the greatest written. It's flow of consciousness book. So I wing it the way I wing these shows, and I don't edit them all that well. Like those typos in my book, I admit it. You know, or a word left out because you're writing so fast and you're thinking and you forget to put ARE in, you know, like the creatures are in the kitchen, the creature's kitchen, you know, or something. That kind of thing. But anyway, yeah, you know, yesterday, 2/22/22 or 22/2/22 at 2:22, you know, p.m., I did some meditation in the morning, and I did some meditation later on, and in the course of the day, and tried to listen to some things and peace out and stuff. You know, and then in the interim and whatever, I put on YouTube, and I just saw all this stuff about Russia, Ukraine, and politics and stuff. It's, you know, and people talking about some Antifa thing, and Pacific Northwest, and somebody talking about, you know, this, that, the other. And when I saw 5 views on that thing, Unify thing, at that time, and like I say, maybe it swelled during a certain part of the day. I don't know. I was upstairs. I emptied a couple of buckets of water out of my various containers. And I still found that I put this like kind of cheap Dollar Tree little carpet, a tiny small carpet, smaller than a HD TV screen. Well, a small TV screen, actually. And I kind of reached my hand under there because I have everything taped together so nothing would get down onto the floor. And yet that was damp. So for the life of me, I don't know how the water is getting down there. And then the cat litter box that I had as the main collection thing, that thing seemed to be functioning, but that had filled. I did empty that with the pump twice. And I was worried about the overnight, but I went up there and it was pretty well dry. So I guess the wind blew in, and it's currently, this is like, we have this weird weather happening. Today it's supposed to get up to 52 degrees. Tonight, 23. And like I said, I'm in the mid-Atlantic states, like kind of, not like, actually this is technically the northern Appalachians, right, region. You know, the Ohio Valley would be to the west of us, and I'm not close to the coast. The coast would be like 4-hour drive. I don't know, something like that to get to the beach. It would be like 4 hours or more, maybe. Yeah. Depends on how fast you drive on the interstate. So, I'm in the mid-Atlantic states. I'm down, that's the best way to describe it, right? So, and the east, that would be the East Coast I'm talking about. I'm like, hours from the East Coast, closer to the northern Appalachian Trail, but not northeast. and west of the Ohio Valley, or east of the Ohio Valley. You see what I mean? It's so hard because, you got Pennsylvania north, Ohio west, New Jersey east, West Virginia south. I'm somewhere floating somewhere down, in the borderline down below, what they really, this would technically be the Mid-Atlantic region. But it's like region, and it's very hard to describe. See, I can't say I'm in like, the Delmarva Peninsula or the D.C. area, or South Jersey, or, you know what I mean? New England, the Midwest, the Plains, right? You see what I mean? This is one of those areas that's just like nobody ever came up with a name for it. Really, unless you give, you talk cities and stuff, but I live in the outskirts of town, so I don't really associate myself with any city. But, by Sunday, we're talking snow, possibility of snow, and the overnight being 16 degrees. But Friday's another 100% chance of rain, thunderstorms, 37, which means that could be freezing rain and thunderstorms because it's 21 at night. And what I'm trying to say is, so we're getting into March now. So March is definitely going to come in like a lion. This is a classic weather year. And so I don't want to hear anybody talking about climate change anymore, because this has been like, first of all, they had that, what they called the pause, which they had no explanation for. And after the pause, they changed global warming to climate change, because they couldn't call it global warming anymore because there was this like decades-long pause. And then after the pause, we moved into colder weather, even though they kept giving readings from the hot places on Earth, but they were like caught, lying. Were caught with emails. They were caught contradicting themselves on websites, and scientific papers were like just peer-reviewed papers in the journals were just contradicting the stuff that was coming out of the pundits and these proponents, people trying to raise money and hold these talks, right? And so for the past several years, we're just back to the old thing I remember as a younger person. It's like I was talking yesterday. It's like people don't remember the civil rights movement. They don't remember Martin Luther King Jr., They weren't at the march. They weren't down on the, the March on Washington and stuff. They don't know. They have no direct. They didn't fight in the Vietnam War. I'm talking about the people who are, or they weren't up, had a number and they were up for, or had their, a relative brother, or somebody, who basically were either drafted or when they pulled the number out, it was like a bingo game. See, people don't talk about that whole period. It was the lottery thing. And if you got you were within a certain range of numbers, it's like, bad luck, right? Bingo. You're probably shipping over. Yeah. That's what it's like. Imagine that. Yeah, the people don't have any idea. That, like I say, people just don't understand that the FBI probably most likely killed Martin Luther King Jr. I mean, and that's a big statement to make, but it's been published that J. Edgar Hoover was blackmailing Martin Luther King and trying to tell him to kill himself when he arrested him. People talk about how they arrest, these people in this truckers rally in Canada, and they forget, they pulled in civil rights leaders, and Martin Luther King Jr. was pulled in, and the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, they have a building named after that guy, right? And that you could, those things are now declassified. You could find that stuff exists, and there's countless people who've confirmed it. Yeah, he was sending. They had him in jail. J. Edgar Hoover was telling him to commit suicide, and if you don't, I'm going to tell your wife about affairs you've had. Yeah, that went on, right? And of course, Gulf of Tonkin and Vietnam and all that nonsense. We've been lied to our whole life. The last guy to tell the truth was this guy.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Now, if you played that on a street corner in front of some Antifa or BLM type of people, right? These people in their 20s and stuff, no, they're children of the 21st century or the late, were born in the late 90s or something, right? They would probably say, oh, that's, some conspiracy theorist. You'd have to literally show them the video and say, no, that was President Eisenhower, who was also a general, warning about the military-industrial complex in his farewell speech. I don't know how many times I have to say that. And I shouldn't even have to say it at once, but thank God the video and audio has survived, and you just heard it. Right? And so if you have any idea about what's going on in Ukraine and with Russia and all this stuff and the talk about NATO and people, on both sides, jingoism towards war, they're just crazy. I heard something that guy, Glenn Beck is a real boathead. I mean, he's like, all these people, if you take, they're so whacked out on their ideology and to hold on to their money. Like, he's another one of those guys who flaunts the fact that he has all these collectibles and rare things that he's collected. Well, how could you get those things? That you must have raked in, mega millions. And so I was watching him, like I said, after the fact, when I saw that there were 5 people watching, I watched, and what they were saying was nothing, and it was over. It was really the end of this Unify thing. And this was early. 5-ish. It probably was within that time that on the West Coast, 3 hours earlier, it was the 2:22 thing. That's probably why I turned it on. And I was focusing and meditating and trying to concentrate on peace and harmony and love and stuff like that. I mean, I was having a semi-panic attack between this friend of mine who, if he is watching, I'll send you an email, but it's like, look, man, I can't help you with that website. It's just too much. I'm done. I'm retired. I can't cope with it. I get too many problems to cope and deal with. And, this roof and stuff. And it's going to rain. What did I say? It was going to rain. What day? Let me pull up my instant weather thing. It's like 57. I was wondering why my grow room, it was so warm. Yesterday I ate kale from my closet. Imagine growing kale indoors. I put 2 garlic, you get sometimes a garlic plant gets a little green thing on the top of it. I put 2 of those in, and they're this big in my closet. And I have an onion in there someone gave me. They said, I think this onion's growing. You grow stuff, And that's got a thing on it about this high already. If I put it in dirt, I can't put it outside just yet because the ground's still frozen. And we're going to have 16 degrees on Sunday night. So I've been putting some of this stuff in my closet indoors, this closet I have on my porch. But the stuff's growing like wildfire. It's 57 degrees outside. Now, it's going to get cooler as the day progresses, and it's going to start raining within the hour. So after the show's over, I will have to go upstairs and pump out water because there'll be 3 hours of consecutive. Well, actually, it's going to rain for a better part of the day. I see at least 4 hours of consecutive rain showing. So. But anyway, what I was trying to say is it's going to rain Friday. and today is Wednesday. It's 3:33 a.m. Yesterday was 2:22:22. Today, right now, it's 3:33 Eastern Time on the 23rd. So there's a 3 in there. 4 threes for you numerology type of people. What does that mean? Luck? Like I say, my right quadrant feels good. My left quadrant, I don't know. It should be all right. I mean, I don't know. I just didn't think I was going to have a heart attack, after 10 years ago. I moved on to all these other operations and stuff. I just don't want to be stressed out. I'm going to wing it like my title of this show says. I've decided to just eat healthy, eliminate stress, and wing it. Life is a mystery. And Dr. Beth, if you're out there, I bought a copy of your book. It arrives tomorrow. And I hope it helps me. I hope it just wasn't timed with 2222, traffic to your site. I mean, good timing to release it, I guess. And that Nassim did, I haven't seen anything about that. That was supposed to come out yesterday, this breakthrough in physics. And, and Dr. Beth, if you have any ideas on solving my gallbladder problems without operation, let me know in the comment section or email me. Comment in my Instagram account. You could click on that, I think, on my ROCKFLUX YouTube page. Just a link to my Instagram account. Right? Posted the Unify thing. Of course, I'm no influencer, Nobody cares.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
But this isn't going to be a downer show. This is a positive show. And so the idea is that, we've gone... I'm wearing the Game Over hat today. Put it that way. I tried. I really did. I tried. And a lot of people tried. And I'm sure millions of people across the globe tried. And maybe the reason my upper right quadrant doesn't hurt, meaning my gallbladder and stuff like that, it could be the Chanka Piedro I'm taking, though my lower back hurts, which is also a sign of still having problems. And I guess at any time you could get acute pain. Yeah, I got a little pain right there towards the back there. But, I could need a bowel movement too, which in case I have to, there'll be a short music interlude But maybe people helped me. And of those of you who did, I appreciate it wholeheartedly. And I don't say that with the slightest bit of non-appreciation, but extreme appreciation. I don't know why that Tony Caravan Live thing is showing up there. But anyway, I originally looked at this fiber, I guess when I was taking antibiotics for a tooth, which I'm starting to have some tooth pain over here. I ran out of one of my xylitol things, and I don't know. But as you can see here, the foods rich in fiber include artichokes, bananas, berries, beans, broccoli, lentils, nuts, peas, whole grains. I eat all those things. I've laid off the nuts because some things say don't eat nuts. And again, this also seems to coincide with a high fiber as part of, healthy diet to prevent, gallstones and stuff. And then in my deep research, and I'm sorry for babbling like this, but if I have any listeners, they know this story, and maybe there'll be some interest. I probably should have put the word gallbladder in my thing. But the idea is that I found one doctor on a site who was actually saying, doing his video from a hospital. You could tell he was in a hospital room. He was wearing, his like surgeon scrubs and stuff. I mean, it wasn't staged at all. Like through the door, you could see a nurse walking by and stuff. But I mean, he was saying that like bile salts help dissolve stones even. Then there's other sites that say they do. Like Cedar Sinai or one of those hospitals, but it might take up to a year or two, and they could come back. But the thing about that is that they would only come back if you didn't eat what I have showing on the screen you want to have. And then mix dark greens and stuff. But yeah, I could feel a little bit of, I woke up feeling really good. Like fairly good, as far as that concerned. So I don't know if my back's feeling a little weird because of that right now or the chair. It's hard to say. This is the end of my coffee. I'm going to have to switch to instant for the next, let's look at my calendar. I have physical calendars here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 days, I'll be on instant coffee if I keep drinking coffee. Looks like my picture has frozen for some reason. No data. The stream will end shortly unless you restart it. Hopefully you will have, I don't know what's going on. Hopefully you will fast forward during this. My kilobytes per second is very low. I don't think this daily photo has anything to do with anything. I'm not broadcasting. But this may be recording to something. What did I say? That I'm freezing up like this. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain. I have literally no data, nothing opened. Now I'm back up, 5,461, 30 frames per second. Sorry about that. I was like, then I shot up to like 3 times my normal broadcast rate. So, but my image on the side is showing me frozen and an error, YouTube error. I'm going to keep talking anyway. I know I'm talking to myself, anyhow. But yeah, I mean, a mystery. When I look at myself here, I don't see, the guy I normally see when I look in the mirror because I don't walk around the house with glasses on. But I still see somebody that doesn't look like some old guy, really old guy. I mean, I don't look like some young person. But I mean, you know what I mean? It's a pleasant enough face, right? Teeth look somewhat straight. They are straight, despite the trouble I've had with my mouth. Complexion's not bad. I'm a little, rough shaven on the sides. Got the old soul patch going. YouTube's playing games with me. They're just saying YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain. So I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah. Now it says excellent connection. We're 29 minutes, 52 seconds, basically a half hour into the program. It's 3:43 now, and I think probably for about 10 minutes we may have been frozen choppy. Hopefully you just fast forwarded till you saw it somewhat normal. And this is also the end of the Irish butter from grass-fed cows. So everything kind of like timed itself perfectly. So I don't know. But what you have to do and what I'm going to do, and like I say, I slept fairly well. Fare thee well, my love. I slept fairly well. And, you know, and I kind of feel kind of okay. And, you know, this was my lunch, 2 days ago. Yesterday I've been using a bigger salad bowl because these mixed greens, it's just too hard to stir. So it's not like I'm eating more. But I had a doctor one time tell me, you know, eat a big salad because that's my main meal of the day. I mean, breakfast, I have a fairly big bowl of oatmeal, shredded wheat, you know, with blueberries, honey, some flax meal, and cinnamon, like stuff like that. But I mean, that's pure fiber and fruit, health. Wasn't blueberries on the list of like fiber too? Was it? Berries, yeah. And I made some homemade hummus. I still have a slight amount left. So that would come under the beans and lentils category. I'm out of broccoli. But I usually eat broccoli every day, broccoli and garlic every day. What I didn't like about, you know, when I was leaning towards this, and the reason why I don't want this gallbladder removal thing is like you can't even eat spicy foods. It said avoid capsaicin, avoid garlic, and avoid all this kind of stuff. It's like, man, those things are the wonder drugs. Those are the antivirals and the things that keep you healthy. The reason I haven't caught, you know, the plague and, you know, and any flu, you know, in a decade or two is because of that. Once I got a kitchen back and was able to be my own gourmet. I mean, I have a gourmet kitchen. I mean, in a, you know, basically in a $200 a month house. You know, so my mortgage, taxes, and insurance are $200. But like I always say for that random new viewer, you know, I've got this garden out back. And that's another reason I don't want to be down for the count and miss this garden season. I've got a lot of work to do out there. So I'm just hoping personally, and I guess this is a ramble, so...
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
And I hope that's not like super in your face because I noticed that it was like distorting on my TV yesterday. And I'm wondering, did I accidentally... I'm going to just down this slightly and just see
this is insane.
You know, just in case.
It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different.
In case there was somehow that accidentally got pushed up. But yeah, I might be taking some aspirins. I don't know. I've been getting some, you know. I haven't been exercising as much as I thought, but I figured running up and down the attic, but it's the stress that kills you. Just remember that. Eat healthy, reduce stress, and, you know, get good rest, and just hope for the best, and have something to look forward to doing every day. And just hope you don't catch one of these things that are being thrust at us every day. You know? And yeah, you might as well pray or meditate or focus on peace and love and harmony and health and enlightenment every day of your life. Be one of those positive type of people. I'm not going to give up on anything. It's just that we seem to be completely overpowered, and it's not. People aren't listening. They're almost laughing at. They're not almost. They're laughing at us, I think, because they're making so much money and they're caught up so much in this material world that it's ridiculous. And so the whole thing, the meek will inherit the earth, is so true, but, unfortunately, it's frustrating. It can be frustrating at times. I don't know. I'm kind of a nice guy. It's too bad I'm like sitting here all alone, Loneliness, that's another thing. There's a lot of lonely people in this world. But it's like, I'm useless. I'm not going. I don't know. The turn of events that have put me in this position have put me here. And whether or not it's penance for my foolishness and mistakes I've made in the past, I don't know. But I'm willing to accept it. Forgive those who trespassed against you and forgive yourself for having, trespassed. Not exactly sure what they mean by trespassing, but I guess I kind of got an idea. But yeah. So I'm just going to live life and hope it lasts as long as it does, and that along the line before I go, I'm enlightened enough to figure a little more out, and make it to the next level or whatever it is. I don't know anymore. It's like, I never knew. But there's so many people, self-assured about these things, the metaphysical things, or the scientific type of people, who are so assured, there's nothing to this. They'll come up with these like ridiculous theories of multiverses, and then they'll say, there's no afterlife or something. And it's like, yeah, there's all, they all kinds of metaphysical principles in quantum physics, but the same people are like, there's no God. Consciousness is just part of the brain. You die and it's one big. That's it. And then they give you these like weird things. It's like Einstein's spooky attraction at a distance. Talking about the idea of, actually faster than life communications. Which really is what, I guess Tesla was originally talking about too. So the whole thing is just really crazy. I mean, that's the way I look at it. It's like you're just living in this crazy world inside your cubicle for the most part, except when you go out to grab provisions or something. I mean, the average person. I mean, I realize there are people out there still like doing things, and that's why that they ignore the people that talk about positive stuff and peace and love and stuff, because the people who are making money on war and, big pharma not curing things. Like I saw all these things about injections they have, chemicals they have, and stuff that could instantly dissolve. Like there's one thing they have that dissolves gallstones instantly. And this was a medical journal article or something. And they were listing a series of things. And one of the things was that the gas produced was deadly, and so that care needed to be used in during the procedure, that the area was well ventilated, and that the physician and their assistants, were, wearing, had some sort of not masks, but some sort of like oxygen, whatever, real respirator type of things on or something, and that the patient was basically protected, because this, whatever they did, but it instantly just dissolved them, like shh, and then they were done, gone. End of story. And there were other ones. One was some IV, an intravenous thing that just did it. And then there were some other things that were just some chemical things that did it over, like literally a short periods of time. And of course, there's this ongoing argument between, people pro-cleanse against anti-cleanse, pro this, pro that. And then the sonic thing was included in that, because apparently back in the 60s and stuff, they used to blast them just like they blast kidney stones. And they have these things now, because I know, because they used it on my kidney on this thing. They have these things that have, like, imagine like a circular tube, okay, but much smaller, okay, so it could be inserted into the abdomen. Well, inside it, I could actually draw this. I'm telling you, I've dug so deep into this that I found into. That's what I'm saying. You can't go to the first 3 pages. When you get 1 billion results, sometimes you just have to dig deep. I'll draw like two things here. Just bear with me. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so look at this thing. You see on the bottom is like a handle, and there's this thin bar, right? So that's inserted just through a small hole in your abdomen, and the arrow is pointing. And so this is a close-up of what the end of that long tubular thing would look like. It's got like a camera around the edge of it where it says light, or a light, like people use on YouTube. I don't have one of those. There's people that light up those cameras that look like a makeup mirror. They're like round. The light goes around in a circle. And then at the top would be like a camera like you have on your computer or laptop or a smartphone. And then in the center section is a combination of this sound blaster, and I guess they're probably here. Let's just imagine there's a switch or something there. I didn't notice anything like that like converts it from sound blasting the stone to flipping it back to suction out the pieces so they don't go flying somewhere, right? And usually in the case of doing something like this, they're going to clip off like the bile duct or someplace where particles could go and cause damage anyway during the course of this short operation. And they would go in there and just blast away, the sound. This is like a sonic. sonic method, we'll call it. And that's what they do. And they do that for kidney stones, and they could do it for gallstones if they wanted to. But see, they don't want to do this kind of thing because there's just too much money in surgery. And like I say, there's chemicals. There's also some procedure where they put a similar tube like that that's got some kind of, I don't know what it is, but it's some gas-ish thing or something that somehow reacts with these things, because the majority of these things are just made of cholesterol. They actually know the composition of this thing. See, the worst thing in any kind of science, chemistry, is to not understand the makeup of what you're dealing with. It's even in like virology, biology, anything. If you know what you're dealing with, then you can find, and that thing happens to be simple, simple definition. The composition is not complex. Then you could say, okay, what dissolves cholesterol, or what turns cholesterol into some gas that isn't going to hurt, the wall or the lining in which it's encased, right? And that's something that people can discover in a lab, in a petri dish, more or less. Experiment. And so apparently they've done that and they figured out something like that. But the gas produced is it's like deadly, or it burns. It could burn. It has some kind of something like that. I was reading about it. But it's not, it's like a minor thing. It just happens. These stones aren't that large, and it just, this is, we're talking about literally minutes. So it's not a threat. And it's the same with something like this. I mean, depending on the number of them, they could be in there for, 20 minutes or a half hour or an hour, depending on how many stones they were blasting and then suctioning the stuff out. But it's just basically a tiny tube, and then there's just probably a couple staples or a minor incision thing, and you're fine. And then they give you some antibiotics or whatever, and you're home. It's even the laparoscopy or scopic, whatever it is. It's too early in the morning. 4:01 a.m. Eastern time. Even that laparoscopy, procedure is just done with a series of those kinds of tubes. Cameras and then different things. And you're home the same day. In that case, it's just that the surgeon probably gets 40 or 80 grand, as opposed to something like this that might take an hour and they could only get, 10 or 20 grand for. And that you'd be cured and you'd still have your gallbladder. See, there's the assumption here, and this show isn't about gallbladders. I'm going to end this soon, but it's about the medical profession. It's about life in general, and this all applies to everything. That's the whole thing. Everything is everything now, because they're doing this in every aspect of our lives. The point is, there's an assumption there, or people are too weak, that they say, well, usually then the stones will return. So they openly admit, and it was like Cedars-Sinai or whoever the heck it was, Mayo Clinic, they openly admit, and don't again, I'm not a medical professional, I'm just telling you my searches, my search down the rabbit hole of YouTube. This is YouTube after all. So this is YouTube talk. This is my vlog.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
This is what this thing was originally created for, guys, and algorithms. I realize it looks weird when I dip down to drink my coffee, especially when I have a slide up like that. I'll get rid of the slide in a second because I'm talking about it right now, but I'll get rid of it. Anyway, they assume people are idiots. Like I saw in one picture, this was talking. They, these guys, these are professional videos that I happen to see some serious stuff. See, because I've gone down the rabbit hole now. So I'm seriously into like university hospital, like mainstream hospitals, people talking about the surgery, the aftermath, or what you can, all this kind of stuff, what to eat to avoid attacks, gallbladder attacks and stuff. And so I'm watching this, and these are well-produced videos with, like, actors, type of things. Not name actors, but, the usual commercial actors. And there's this one scene where this guy's walking in from the kitchen with a bowl of French fries, and he's sitting on the sofa as if he's watching TV, and he's got this bowl of French fries next to him. And he's eating those French fries. And the whole idea is the idea of this fatty foods. These were like grease, fried French fries, right? Probably piled on with salt too. And the idea is you look at my picture and I'm eating salads with apple cider vinegar with the mother in it, by the way, turmeric, anti-inflammatories. That red thing in the corner is a red bell pepper, high in vitamin C, right? Good for you, is the best peppers to eat. Extra virgin olive oil, first cold pressed if you can get it. Dark greens. Mostly, I usually, within a couple months, hopefully I'll be growing in my own backyard. Though yesterday I threw a few pieces of kale that I grew in my house, I said. And they're assuming that these people, the reason they take these things out, because there was one other one that referred to that you would like after eating a cheeseburger, you probably notice you're more likely to have an attack or have this pain. It's like, I don't eat cheeseburgers. I'm over that kick. They're assuming people are eating these like fried food and getting some kind of boxed processed food at a grocery store. It's like, that's not me. And when you tell some doctors this kind of stuff, because I've been down this road before when I was having like heart fit, this AFib or AFLUT or whatever it was 10 years ago, whenever that thing went away. Hopefully it's gone forever. Occasionally I get like some palpitations, but it's usually because I'm not hydrated enough. Stay hydrated, by the way. That's one thing anybody will tell you. Every doctor I know told me that. Drink water. Like the equivalent of like a liter, they usually say. Like a 2-liter bottle. Which isn't that much because, people will sit around with the 2-liter bottle of soda and in the course of the day they'll end up, or they'll have, several cans of diet soda or something like that. Just drink water. Just get some water in the mix. But I don't, I used to eat burgers. I used to like once a year do the McDonald's thing when they used to have that Monopoly game. It's like, yeah, let's do McDonald's this week. And we used to do McDonald's, see if we could win $1 million playing Monopoly. We never won. We won some free fries a couple times or something like that. Extra cheeseburger. But I don't do that. And it's like the same. I'm not going to sit by the refrigerator with a bowl of French fries. Now I intentionally put a little bit of butter into this coffee, doing this bulletproof coffee thing, because I wanted to push a little bit of fat in my food so that I can make sure that the gallbladder's purpose is to release bile into the bile ducts when fat is in the small intestine, to help digest it and to apparently that's the way you absorb certain vitamins, like vitamin, I think it's A, D, E, and K. Like I say, don't quote me on any of this stuff. I'm just talking about my travels, searches. You talk to your doctor about this kind of thing. If you could find one that'll talk to you about it and not just say, oh, we'll just cut it out. But so I'm pushing it slightly. I'm not going to eat a cheeseburger. I'm not going to sit down and order, a pizza with pepperoni on it. Unfortunately, now that's something I used to make a good pan pizza myself. Haven't done that in like a year, but I used to. And I guess I'll miss that. And I'm going to try, assuming I get through this next couple of months, which I think are crucial. If I don't get any attacks, and I don't have to get this, I don't want to get this operation if I don't get any attacks in the next couple of months. I'm back to taking Chanca piedra, dandelion root, milk thistle, and some of that stuff. I haven't gone the bile salts route yet because there's too many conflicting reports on that. However, I did ask my pharmacist about 3 weeks ago, and she said, well, that's kind of a homeopathic remedy, and it may do some thing. So, in other words, you can trust your pharmacist. My family doctor was totally non-committal. She's like, everything in moderation. That was her response. But neither of them said, no, absolutely not. You'll die. They didn't say that. So if a pharmacist and my doctor, this is just me. You ask your own pharmacist and your own doctor before you do anything. But I may do that. I was looking yesterday, but I'm just not sure. So I think I'm going to wait until I get through this Chanca piedra with the dandelion root and something else and this milk thistle. And when that runs out, I may get that Dr. Berg gallbladder formula and try that for a month or so. And by then I'm hoping it's garden season and I've got all my fresh greens and all that stuff growing and I'm just eating healthy all summer long. You see? And then I may try getting back into experimenting with food. Like I say, I'm kind of I'm a semi-gourmet guy. I cook. So I've had this idea of trying to make a whole grain oats, see if I could make a pizza crust out of like whole grain oats and flax meal, and see if I could just get some whole grain, like, in general, something that can, and see if I could make that into a point of where it's a consistency of flour that it will bake. Remember, it's a pizza, so I don't care. That doesn't have to rise. I'm not worried so much about that. And, there are reduced fat, low fat cheeses and different things like that. And then the toppings could be good vegetables like, mushrooms, olive oil, Italian seasonings, and fatty fish. Like, I don't know. I'm not a real big fan of anchovies. Sometimes they could be overpowering, but, I bet you they would be included in fatty fish, which are supposedly a good, healthy fat for you. I don't know. But, there's other things besides mushrooms, red bell peppers, so things like that. Garlic, onions. So just for the sake of it, I may do that, but I probably won't do that for a couple of months, even mess with that. But I'm going to try to create some things like that, just to have some variety from time to time. So it's not just cereal salad, because what happens is I've eaten these pastas. Whenever you eat, not you, me, like yesterday I gained a pound because I had these like low salt saltines with this hummus I made with like cannelli beans. which are supposedly good for you. And beans, lentils, and that kind of stuff are okay, right? They're on the list of like high fiber foods, you know, wherever that list was. See, beans, lentils, peas even. And, you know, they talk about a high fiber diet. Though then I've heard other people say avoid grains, but the generic, they don't say whole grains. Other ones, everywhere else I've looked, it's like, you know, eat whole grains. So anyway, this is the kind of world we live in. I'm going to take down this title card. Not that there's anything worth seeing back there. You know, it's kind of crazy. Maybe we'll move the Tony Caravan live down to the bottom for the sake of it. Double Tony Caravan live. It looks better with the black background. Let's just get rid of it. They're still digging across my street. So that's like another point of aggravation. But see, you just have to keep positive. Yesterday, I let things overwhelm me too much. It was like, you know, a friend asks you to do something, you know, but it was just too much. It's too complicated. I can't do it, you know? It's too much. I can't do that stuff. I just don't do that. It's like that. Like I say, it's like from Jaws 2, that line. I have to find that. I've been through that hell before, and I don't want to go through it again. Remember? That was in like the trailer for Jaws 2, right? Boy, is the delay on the broadcast long today. I just glanced over there, and it's still showing it showed the fiber thing. And Tony Caravan Live was still up top, and the image of the stuff is there. Wow. We're talking about, they got me on major delay. Major delay. Afraid I'm going to say something. Afraid of peace, love, and understanding. I don't know. They just don't understand.
The future. He came from the future.
They just don't get it, you know? It's crazy.
It's really funny. Really funny.
It is really funny, you know?
Good morning.
In case you're falling asleep on me. Hey, we're into the show 1 hour. It's 4:16 a.m. on this hump day, February the 23rd. 22222 has passed. I don't know if the world's a safer place or not. Personally, I'm not going to get into the Ukraine-Russia thing and stuff like that. I think I've made my piece, you know, known, my opinion known on that. Well, by the way, on my store, there are all kinds of new things available that I'm looking forward to getting myself. Now, let's see here. New window. We'll go to my site, if I could find it. Where's ROCKFLUX? Oh, no, that's ROCKFLUX on Rumble. Let's just go to ROCKFLUX. That's my website. And like I said, I know it's primitive, but the idea here is I just wanted to basically show you, you know, and take you to my main spots, show you my 2 latest books. I mean, up to this point, it's pretty good. You could listen to some songs right there instantly. And then I get into some of the store stuff. And eventually I'm going to add some more pages that have some information links and like maybe some articles and essays from my books. But let's go to the ROCKFLUX store. And let's look at all designs. And I've added a few things yesterday. So, like, for example, this tank top, men's premium tank top, will come in handy this summer. I'm going to get one of those. Of course, I shouldn't have got it in black because, it's just going to make me hot. But look, pillows. You don't know what you don't know. They're pillow covers, you'd have to put some stuffing in it. And there's a better version of a hat now, you say? And apparently, I think the bears are back, or are they not? No, temporarily they're still out of stock. But we're going to keep it there. And then they have, you don't know what you don't know, handkerchiefs, bandanas. $15, $19 for that cap. That's pretty cool. I mean, this stuff is fairly cheap. $16 for the pillow. And like I say, these shirts are pretty decent. Like even this one here, and you could change the color. See, the beauty of this is that you could say, well, I want a blue one, or I want a brown one, or, or an orange one, just because I'm working out in the thing. But, and same with this, maybe I will get this in blue. You can get it in red if you want to. When I'm working out in the backyard, I like to have a tank top on just because otherwise you sweat like a dog. But I mean, you could buy these shirts for $18, plus tax, of course. $16. I mean, there's some interesting stuff there. And you can get, a ROCKFLUX sticker for $2.99. Spread the word, But I wanted to show, let's see if they have it here. They have a new kind of hat. And I'm trying to think what I ordered what I put that one on. Maybe I got it for ROCKFLUX. Let's see if that's down there. I mean, look at that ROCKFLUX t-shirt right at the top there. That's a classic shirt, man. Oh, buttons. Look at this. $6.99 buttons. I'm going to get a couple of those. The coffee mug I use every morning, of course. There's a mouse pad. An artisan apron, which I could use out in my workshop. I think it's got like pockets in it. Ankle socks. I'm going the whole route, personally. I think people should too. This is the fun thing about this. I'm trying to think what else. I don't see those darn hats. I think I got it with this version of ROCKFLUX. Let's see. Here we go. Check that hat out. Bucket hat. I'm definitely getting one of those. And the tie-dye t-shirt. And this is the jersey beanie, they call it. Or a polo shirt, which is ROCKFLUX up top. And then, like I say, an organic baseball cap for only $19. And it's, it's not the ROCKFLUX Earth logo, but it's still, it's out there. People are like, what's that? And this small thing down the bottom is just so if someone looks closely, they see it's rockflux.com. And you could get these tote bags, different colors, obviously. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that. If you haven't seen Tony, gone to the ROCKFLUX site, there's some of my older books. There's a sample video for some people. And I've got to donate. You could donate with Bitcoin, though I've been having trouble figuring out how to get my Bitcoin out. And then, of course, there's greatsolarstuff.com. which I might as well show you this stuff because you don't have to get the solar panels, but though you should. But this is what I have in the back behind me, which I'll show you in a second. And that's what I'm using. This is just a cheap one. I mean, cheap, but I mean, there's USB ports. You know, you could charge it in your house, or you could charge it with a solar panel, or charge it in your car. But you could plug something right into it. You could I've already put in one of those multiple adapters. You know, but you could get solar panels and then these no weather radios. I'm buying one of these as soon as I have a couple extra bucks next month. And if people would donate to the cause, I really want to get one of these. Look at this monster. 1,800 watts to 3,300 surge. You know, these things are excellent. The power down situation. Christmas lights, I have those. Solar fountain thing, got it. You know. I have my own collection, water collection system, but I'm thinking about getting one of those, and I'm definitely want to get a water filter. Anyway, like I said, here I am. Just some dude, you know, doing this show. Trying to get comfortable, I don't know. Hey, you know, living this life. See, you can't really see back here. Well, there you can see a little bit better. You can see my book Codex. But behind the phone, I have my CD that's out of print over top of the Jackery, which is powering the on-air light up top. And you see, I was lucky enough to get one of these bears before they went out of stock. It's like a real collector's item. If you look real closely, it says you don't know what you don't know. There's my old morning show mug back there above that AM radio. And, of course, my YouTube thing that says, presented to Tony Caravan Live for exceeding 3 views. It's art for art's sake. So, yeah. I don't know. Today's a strange show. It's just, you know, just a babble. It's just a vlog, a morning vlog. I'm just here. Like I said, I slept okay. A friend of mine's coming down, I think, this morning to help get me some, so I can get some broccoli, bottled water, so I could, you know, I use spring water, though I have a Brita filter, which I've been filling some bottles with that for the time being. But it's convenient having a case of, you know, of that. And there's probably a couple other things that I need to get, you know, to get me through. So, you know, that's my life. It's like, you know, I have no desire to have a hamburger. So I don't, like I said, I don't really. This is actually from my chair from the backyard. It's like your headrest, but it just seemed like a weird thing. So I use it as like kind of a backrest because this chair is so beat up. It's so old. But my cat was young. He used to claw on the back of it and climb up to the top. He's getting old now. He's real light to pick up. Used to be heavy. Like it just recently, he still eats and stuff, and his nose is cold, and he, you know, runs up and down the stairs and sits in the sun and purrs and sits on my lap and stuff. But I guess he's just getting old. It's sad. You know, people get old, cats get old, dogs get old. The cycle of life, you know. I mean, hopefully we haven't just created this whole afterlife thing just because we just can't deal with, you know, staring eternity down You know, and that's my chat, The Mystery of Life, you know, and I guess that's the shows for the rest of the year. You know, I mean, like I say, you got to think positive and be positive and do good and service to others and all that stuff. I mean, I'm on board with all that. But hey, I'm no model citizen. I mean, man, I get frustrated. I get, you know, all that stuff. And I got health problems, but, you know, who am I to complain? People have got worse problems than I do. People are sitting in wheelchairs and stuff. So it's like, I'm not going to sit here and just, you know. But, you know, I can't help it every now and then being overwhelmed, just like I'm sure you are. And you just have to get through it and then forgive yourself for being that way. And forgive others if they were, you know, if somebody else was touchy or snapped on you because they're frustrated or whatever. You know, understand it. I mean, it's one thing if somebody's like that nonstop, you know, that's just downright, you know, that's just a miserable, that's just a miserable, evil person. Just trying this chair, this whole place. You know, it would be so amazing if I had one of those, like whatever, $300 or $500 chairs, like all those guys have. Tim Pool, the guy I pick on every day. You know, his compound. But the thing is, you know, the reason I pick on all those people is that the whole lot of them is because they're making a living on negativity in politics. I know you shouldn't blow your nose on, you know. But you don't want me to sneeze. I'm one of those guys who sneezes like 5 times in a row or something. 3 to 5 times in a row. It's ridiculous. And I felt a little itch in my nose. Well, that's because I trimmed my nose hairs. Right? I'm a groomsman type of guy. I don't know. You got to look good and feel good. It helps, even though I don't encounter anybody necessarily. And even if I did, I'd be wearing a mask. You know, I don't know. So the absurdity of life right now is just beyond, like, talking about, you know? It's so weird, surreal. But yeah, I'm just going to get into this stuff and, you know, maybe explore a lot of woo-woo stuff, you know, going forward. You know, I mean, I still don't know. Like I said, I quit locals. I mean, Rumble bought locals out anyway. I quit with, like, I had coin in there too, which was kind of really weird. Like, you know, because that site was so put together so poorly. They should have said, you know, when you quit Netflix or something, it says, well, you're good through, you know, whatever your you know. It's like I had 300 some coin in there. I wanted to give it to, like, somebody. And it just vanished and your account's done. And that was like Dave Rubin's private little thing. And maybe a couple other people might have gotten something out of it, but I don't know. I did a month. I supported Tulsi Gabbard for a little while. Gave her, you know, subscribed to her for a month or two, and Rubin for while I was on there. But nobody subscribed to me. Well, a friend of mine did. I gave him a free subscription, and then he, you know. But I mean, it didn't work. You know, there was no gain from that site. And Rumble supposedly was going to be offering streaming like YouTube. But the last time I was there, it was like you had to have, it was like a pay to play thing. And it was limited bandwidth and whatever, depending on how much money you spent. But there was a disclaimer saying they were going to offer it. So I don't know if that's changed yet or not. Because things on YouTube are so tentative. There's still that thing about, which you might not even know. See, this is the thing. Someone like me, I wouldn't know. But they supposedly have got an algorithm. I don't know when this goes into effect, that they've redone their terms of service and stuff and have sicked these new reprogrammed algorithms to go remove content, anything that's even the slightest bit of what they call misinformation. And so they could go back through videos, and videos of mine will just vanish off of YouTube. But how would I know? What am I doing? Checking my videos? You see? So that could have already happened, or I think it might be happening in March. So maybe they'll just take this thing, I'll get 3 strikes instantly and be off. Right? Because of a guy who has 500-600 videos, there's bound to be some stuff that some whack job, who programmed the algorithm will consider misinformation in something, despite the efforts I go through to give disclaimers and whatnot. But, I could probably move to Rumble. I have been messing around with this 3Speak thing, but it's very hard to run, and I can't figure it out. In many ways, they have some kind of hive thing. Like, in other words, I have videos on there, so I'm podcasting. One of them I'm podcasting, and it has an image, but other ones are on that, like, my podcast list. The other videos that I've uploaded, but for some reason it didn't take the image with it. Maybe because the image wasn't the right size. I don't know. And this is the thing that it's getting me to the point of where I call it being overwhelmed. It's like, okay, I'll deal today. It's going to rain. It might have started already raining, or it's going to start raining again soon. So I'm going to go upstairs, but at least I'll be upstairs watching the playback of this show for what it's worth. I mean, I hope this hasn't bored you to death. And I'll only be like a stairway or stairwell, whatever you want to call it, away from going upstairs and emptying some buckets when it starts raining again. And I could deal with that. But I just can't. I'm spacing out here because I'm thinking about things and I'm trying to talk at the same time. I'm just thinking about all the things I have here, all the technology and all the things I do. And how it's just becoming too much, and it's overwhelming. And it's like, the gardening aspect, growing is a big job. My garden has really become, and I guess I'll show it again. And like I say, this is a 2-year-old picture, so it's like, and I could even show you. See, there's like an apple tree. That thing I just trimmed, that's gotten bigger. And of course, this is in the summertime. But this is fairly recent enough. But you see how big the yard is. And you see as I keep going, there's like a pergola there. Well, that's gotten completely overgrown with these grapevine things that I have to deal with. The thing on the right is like a bird feeder. See, I tried to move that as far away from the main garden as possible, and even from my apple tree. I used to have the bird feeder on that black pole, which I guess was part of a clothesline leading to the house or something at one point. But you see, that was right next to my apple tree, which is to the left of the black pole. So I put a concrete post in and a bird feeder, back in the back part of the yard to focus the attention of the birds and even chipmunks. I'll put down a peanut or two. But look how, you see, it's a long yard, Then I got my little workshop there. It's like a garage, but it's a workshop. And in the back where you see some boxes and stuff, that was converted last year into a compost pile area. So pay no attention to that. That's been cleaned up. But my main thing is that lounge chair you see next to that umbrella and in between where the little mini greenhouse is. So it's a lot of work maintaining that big of a grow garden. A couple of fruit trees. I have a blackberry bush that I want to nurture. Grapevines I'm trying to nurture. Several trees. Keep pests, and vermin, hopefully not, but out of the food area. And like I say, you could even see in this one, it was a lot of wild growth towards the fence and stuff. Like I've got to work hard on that this year. Last year, I let it get out of control. So I have a lot of work to do with this thing. And see, next to it's just like a drive-through park because it's like a doctor's office over there. But that's my world, This is my thing. And so it's, and with the way things are going in this country, supply shortages, the price of food and things have doubled in some cases. And then me wanting to, this whole idea here where I'm just trying to survive and thrive and eat healthy so that salad, the basis of that salad, and even the red bell peppers, I've grown peppers and stuff. And I could grow turmeric roots and stuff. But the idea is that I want to, grow my own food and eat that and eat it. And I want to extend it as long as possible. We do get late frosts, but I can cover the stuff with burlap and things like that. And somehow, it can survive, or I'll grow indoors for as long as I can to get the stuff started. And I have that outdoor greenhouse where I could let things get kind of like used to the sun. Things that are under grow lights need to get like acclimated to sunlight, which is a little bit more intense, obviously. And if there's a freeze, the stuff in the greenhouse isn't going to freeze. It'll get cold in there. It's not heated, but it won't freeze. And I have a heat mat in there anyway, because I'll start seedlings in there earlier, even while there still might be get down to an overnight freeze. So end of April. So this is end of February, so, March, April. And there's some other things that have longer, start periods. So I might want to have some seed starts indoors within the next several weeks. So that's that's like 7-8 months out of my year. And it's 6-7 months it's half a year or more of my food. If I could master this indoor thing, I could conceivably, produce all my food, most of my food, the lion's share of my food. The only thing I would have to purchase from some other place would be, apple cider vinegar, extra virgin olive oil, and maybe some exotic spices that I can't grow on my own. Do you see what I'm saying? But what is that? Right? That's minimal cost. And I can also get some of that stuff in bulk. Things like vinegar and stuff like that don't necessarily go bad. Things turn into vinegar if they hang around too long. Like I say, you should always keep a pantry. I noticed in my pantry, because I cleaned it out the other day, because I had some things that were approaching expiration. like March of 22 and stuff. Some like tomato paste or tomato sauce or stuff like that. Which I always buy just the cheapest can, the stuff that where it says ingredients, tomatoes, citrus acid maybe, right? That's the preservative. So there's nothing in there. No added sugars, it's not processed. I mean, the only process is putting it in a can. You know what I mean? It's like plop, seal, plop, seal, plop, seal type of thing. The moment I start seeing all kinds of ingredients and stuff like that, you know. That's why I do eat old-fashioned oats and stuff like that, you know. I mean, occasionally I'll get a box of something with the fortified stuff. You know, they fortify it with all these vitamins. But that's processing, and it's like, you don't know, you know, there's added sugars. Because people have sweet tooths. It's like, look, yeah, I used to like ice cream and all that stuff too. But, you know, I could live without it, you know. Apparently sorbet is good for you. They do have some non-dairy low-fat type of stuff. You know, if you get a craving for something, if you just want, or you want to cleanse your palate sometimes after like a hot meal. But I'm not worried about that. And the idea is that that's a big thing. And who knows, you know, like I say, once that season hits, you know, I may switch back. If you go to my website, you know, I have garden videos. And I usually, what I've done is I've like just done a voiceover and show the garden in slow-mo and talk about it. And I would just produce one of those a week, you know, usually on a rainy day or some day when I couldn't be out there doing stuff. My biggest problem is exercise at this point in my life. I really wish I had a treadmill. I don't mind walking to the grocery store and stuff like that, but like I said, I'm a mission-oriented like person. And I find it very boring and non-motivating to just go on a walk. You know, because it's alone. I mean, if I had a dog or something, but then that would be a whole nother nightmare. You know, because that yard is so filled, like it's not like the dog could run around in that yard. That yard is like whatever. And then the dog, you know, would be chase away all the birds, you know, and who knows, you know, doing things on the trees, the fruit trees, you know. So, I mean, I can't really, I would like to. I wish I had a bigger yard. I mean, if I had a big yard, I'd probably have a couple of goats. You know, who knows? Chickens. Get some eggs. No. I am where I am, and this is probably where I will die. You know, I don't see myself buying another house. I don't see myself moving. You know, I see myself hopefully living, you know, staying somewhat healthy and bit by bit minimalizing and getting rid of all this stuff I have in this place. Because when you die, you die. I know this sounds morbid, and maybe people looking at me go like, well, I don't know. Well, you know, the thing is, you don't know. And I rather have, you know, get my stuff and my things to people that will use it, you know, before the fact, than to me to have some kind of problem and, you know, and just some, I don't know, freeloaders, bandits, whatever, come in and just take all this stuff, and my whole life's work goes to waste to use some useless individuals. You know, I have a collection of all my books. I'd like to give them to people, the ones I have here. You know, I just don't have enough. I never gathered enough followers to have an audience, and I don't understand that. I mean, today's show's blah. I agree. But I've had some really incredible shows, and last year I did 365 in a row. And it's not like because they're in the morning. The thing is, the moment this show's over, it's up and it's out there. But at least if I had like a couple of hundred followers, regular viewers, subs as they call them, I think I have like 30 subscribers, and I don't think they watch because I don't see the numbers on my videos. I see 3 views, 5 views. And like I say, I think part of those views are like mine and just a couple people I know. I mean, I think when I go to like post my video on my other browser, that counts as 1. And when I go and watch it on my smart TV, I think that counts as 2. So I think some of my videos only have 1 view by one random person, and it might be somebody I know who's probably not going to watch anymore because I insulted him when I said the word sound clown. Sorry, man. It's just, everybody here thought it was funny.
Really funny. Really funny.
I mean, I don't know. Forgive me. But, and then there's another dude, and that dude's going to be angry at me today when I tell him, like, thanks for sending the photos, but I can't do that website because I'm too stressed out. I'm thrown in too many directions. I'm retired. That's why I don't write songs anymore. Like people say, well, I don't understand, like you should go on, you got these books. Why aren't you like, you have to go on a book tour to sell books. Books just don't sell themselves. And yes, I know there are bookstores and there I could get on a book tour. I have 10 books. And yes, I could probably go out there and do that. I have no problem with public speaking. I could stand at the podium. I could talk a little. Look at me. I do this for 2 hours. I could talk about a few things that are in my latest book or my last 2 books, or have a stack of my 10 books there and cover like an overview of them and sit down at a table and autograph some, and I'm sure I'd sell some. And I could do even if I just did a 6-city tour, mini tour, at some key places, I bet you I could sell books. But I don't have the motivation to do that, and I don't drive anymore. I don't have a car. Gave it up. Because I wasn't using it. I had no use for it. I don't have a license even. I let it expire. Wasn't using it. It's the same with my music. It's like, you have to aggressively promote it. And I get all this stuff all the time, but it's like, I could if I put a band together and we started playing some gigs, there's a couple of my tunes, or if I like contacted got an engineer and went in and, like I said, remixed or remastered a couple of tracks. And, I had an idea, a great idea. It's there in the back. It's this thing is I was going to do, to make it unique, I was going to release it in vinyl, in color vinyl too. Like, like a red or a yellow or orange, like weird disc. Do it at Jack White's. Isn't it Jack White that's got the record plants, Do it at one of those places because people are hungry for vinyl, and I just remaster, I definitely have enough for an album. Out of 50 songs, I could definitely put an album's worth of tracks out, 10 to 12 tracks, the best of, and I would probably sell it. I don't have the motivation to do that, and I don't have the money to remaster it and to pay for the pressing and all that kind of stuff, and hustle the distribution of it and everything. So that's that, and it's the same with these shows. It's the ideas. It's like you can work this thing. Like you should be, I could be commenting on a lot of sites, and then people who's that guy who commented there, and they might check you out and this, that, the other. And, you know, you work the whole thing. But, you know, I was doing these things like on social media. Oh, man, yesterday I have a power, because I always had a hum on this thing for a while. So I have this power conditioner on here now with a main power switch. And yesterday, instead of unplugging, I unplugged this. I have this mug warmer that I bought for $9. I've talked about this before. It works really well. It's still working. I already got my money's worth out of it because I've had it for months and months and months. And I was drinking cold coffee, and like the last sip of coffee is the hottest using this thing. $9 on Amazon. Mug warmer. See if I can pick it up without burning my hand. Now you can't see it. But I could show it to you. I have to turn on my thing. Before we end the show, I'll show it to you. My iPhone's off. It'll like pop up as soon as this thing happens. But to get back to it is like, no, that's why I don't do it. So it's, you know, it's mostly my fault. It's, you know, and same with websites. You know, I get offers to do things all the time. And here we go. Every time I turn my iPhone on, the photo app automatically comes up, which really sucks. I'm going to show you my mug thing. Just because this is this kind of show. So where's the iPhone? There it is. There we go. All right. Looks kind of sloppy. Just say, oh. Notifications are a pain. Okay. So there's my mug. You know, there's my face mug. See, there's the delayed. That's what's being broadcast on YouTube Studio. I don't know why everything's out of focus. And then this is like infinity, right? That's like a glitch in the matrix, I call that. Right? That shouldn't be happening, I don't think. Right? Look at infinity. It's a glitch in the matrix. That's my audio computer, keyboard. And if you look over here, you see that down here, well, my mixer and that light, that amber glowing light. And then that's outside my window. And there's the coffee carafe. There's two mice over here, this keyboard I use. But the whole purpose of this was to show this mug, this thing. And what it is it's just like a little mini hot plate. But it's only like 12 or 15 watts. I forget what it is. I thought it was 5 watts once, but it's like 12 watts or something, which is nothing. Which means you can run it, you know, literally on a, and I'll just like put this aside. On one of these Jackery things, which I'm going to grab. You know, this is my CD. I've shown this to people before. This is out of print, unfortunately. The Essential Beat Poetry of Tony Caravan. But that big album thing I was talking about, you see where the Essential, out of all these tracks, you know, I might not include every one of them because it's a little bit too much for vinyl. But out of that, I have plenty to put out a good album. Right? There's my book's codex. But this over there is the Jackery. All right. That thing. Anyway, that's only I only paid like $199 for that thing. $200. And it's like 240 watts, something like that. It's been powering this on-air light and the Christmas lights that used to be there back in December. I haven't recharged it since, and it's still at 99% charge it's holding. These things are really good. And I could recharge it by just plugging it in. And I don't know why everyone doesn't have at least one of these. This is the cheap one. Because I don't have a lot of money, because I don't make any money. I'm demonetized. And same with these shirts I'm talking about. Nobody's buying any of this crap. You know? So I'd like to, if I were you, I'd if you have $500, or I think that other big one we saw cost $1,000. But if you have $500, get like the 500 watt, 500 or 600 watt version of one of these. Go to greatsolarstuff.com. I mean, I might get a commission of a couple of bucks, $2 or something like that. I don't know. But then you'd have power if the power goes out. And if you had just a simple solar panel, like you could get a cheap solar panel for under $100. It's like what I have on my greenhouse here. If you look back, you know, on this, there's like a little tiny square thing on top of that little mini greenhouse that next to my chair by the garage. That's like my little mini greenhouse I built. But I have first there's 2 solar panels on there. The first one was for when I used to have this mini fan, but I just left it there, and the fan's still there. But it was a tiny, like one of those desk portable fan things. But since it was DC, I could connect it straight to this little mini solar panel. But that wasn't taking the heat out. It was getting to be 100-some degrees in that place, 120 in the summer. So I happened to have another fan that worked, had an AC adapter on it. It was a DC fan. And so I installed that, and I had this like 40 watt whatever solar panel that I paid like $40 or $50 for. And I put that on the roof of it there. You can see it. And I had to get a step down transformer because it was producing too many watts. It was going to blow the motor of the fan. I thought I blew the motor of the fan at one point. But those motors are pretty durable and, So I got the step down transformer. So assuming that still works, but all that stuff's been out in the wintertime. I just keep it in there. But I mean, I probably should bring it all inside. But it works fairly well in the summertime in keeping the heat down from getting too far over like 100. But for seed starts and stuff, it's fine. And certain things just grow in there. They don't care that it gets that hot. Right? Especially, things like pepper and tomato plants, which I'm hiding in there usually, in May, because you could still get frost or below, you haven't gotten things that are definitely things that like it hot. Right. See, I'll put lettuce out in April and chard and beans and all that stuff. Because if there's a frost or something like kale you could have exposed to the frost. It just kind of deals with it, and then it just, it's like nothing happened. It has its own I don't know. Maybe that's why it's good for you. It's got something in it. But things like that, greens, you don't have to worry about. So I'll plant them in April. And I'll start I already have kale started inside, but I have some kale that should pick up from last year. But I'm going to do I have some shards. Shard I started indoors already. And, and things like that. And then I'll grow beets and radishes, they only take like 28 days, like less than a month to grow. And so I'll put them out, and they're cold weather. So I have these like old storm window type things that I put over top of, I have a couple square beds. And that's why I say I have to get out there and work. And if I had an operation, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd be down for the count. This year's garden season would just be, and that would be the end of my garden, because I have so much trimming and shit to do in the next couple of weeks. I really have to get control of this. This grapevine got out of control last year. And what I'm doing, and these trees, some of those trees, my neighbor's been like being a real witch about things. So I have to cut this one tree, like the whole top part of it off that's by her fence. And then I want to cut that wood, even though the wood's only like so wide, but I already trimmed some of it off. But what I'm doing is I'm going to create a little wood pile and let that wood dry out, and maybe have a little like, if I could get some lumber, some kind of lean-to or some, over the side of my garage. I have this weird thing up in the attic that's like an old shower. Like, it seems like the guy who had this house before was going to install this thing. But the only weird thing about it is while it's a solid piece, imagine the short wall of a shower, not like the longer part of a tub, right? But it has built into it like the thing where you would put shampoo and stuff on it. It's kind of like weird like that. So, but I was thinking, but it's this thick vinyl. And I was thinking maybe I would put that on the side of my garage and then just have it mounted there, just with two uprights. And then I could keep like lumber, like this, not lumber, but this wood, because I have an outdoor fire pit and I have an outdoor grill. And like I'm saying, if the fit ever hit the shan, you can't imagine how crazy grapevines and these tree things I have grow. And then you got to trim your apple trees every year and stuff like that. And so it's like, some of it's just the real thin twigs, little, but others are as thick as like this thick. And that's more than enough, a couple of those to cook with. Yeah, if you want to cook like I say, make some coffee, tea, put a something on a grill. See, people don't think of their grill as using a pot and pan or a coffee pot or a fire pit as putting something over it and cooking on it using a pan. It's just never crossed their mind. But you can. So you can make soup out in your backyard, and the wood, I don't have to worry about buying lumber because I don't need to produce fires that last for hours and hours and hours. I'm not running a fireplace. All I need, in fact, some of these small boards will be more than enough, will end up, it'll be wasted, it'll burn out. I almost would probably should put them out if I wanted to. If the fit did hit the shan, I would probably preserve them. But at this point, I already have like a dozen or so boards, branches about this long and about so wider. Well, actually, I would say some of them are about that wide, just that I've grown. And this tree, when I cut down this tree, this top part of the tree, just cut off the top of it. I got to do that sometime within the next week or two. You have to do this stuff before the sap comes up, you see? And it'll start coming up soon. So now's the time to do it. But the weather's just going to be too crappy. Today it's going to be it's rainy and warm. So, just my luck. But, and then, Maybe next weekend I might do it. Saturday it's like 34 degrees. 25 overnight. Sunday only a 30% chance of snow. It's going to be 12 degrees overnight. The temperature just changed. But like tomorrow, chance of thunderstorms. Or today, thunderstorms. Friday, 100% chance of rain, thunderstorms. Could be an ice storm, 37 degrees. So it's like whenever I got a chance, I did get a chance to get out and do my trim my apple tree. And I think I did a good enough job. You know, it looks kind of nice. But I don't know if I'm going to get apples this year because as I learned, I should have been trimming it all along, pruning it all along, even the first year that it became a tree. So I kind of screwed up with that. I can't believe the delay they've added to this. I'm looking at the thing and it's still I'm still like my hand was just showing the branches. That's how long they've increased the delay on this, like ridiculously long. Yeah, it's really weird. That's a new development. But like I say, once they get into that, implement this new algorithmic thing that's going out there, I anticipate they'll probably just take down videos. But I won't even know which ones. Because I'm not going to, I have no idea. I don't remember 500, 600 videos, man. I don't remember that. I don't remember the videos from last year. I mean, 365? And I was an idiot. I didn't name them properly. I was putting like Tony Caravan Live and the date on the bottom. And so it was like the thumbnail was what it was about. So I think in effect, searching is, I screwed myself on search. See, now I do it differently. I title I put a title on them. I have keywords, but, they tell you right on the thing about keywords, they say they do nothing. See, Google's pulled keywords out because they were abused by, people who were trying to get higher ranks, and it was messing with their AdWords program. They want you to buy keywords to be on Google. It's pay to play. I mean, it's plain and simple. And YouTube follows the same, it's the same algorithmic concept. Same code, more or less. Same company, man. So anyway, yeah, I've made my decision. And I'm just going to live life as long as I can. I'm going to start streamlining things the best I can. Got too much junk. Too much accumulation. Life's accumulation of objects. I got one Monty Python movie. They were in search of the world's most fabulous object. I have so many of the world's most fabulous objects. It's unbelievable. And I don't know who to give them to. Like, I'd sell the stuff on eBay or these things, but nobody wants to pay the shipping. It would cost more to ship than to sell some of the stuff I want to sell. And the only other alternative are these app things, but then people have to come to your house, right? And I don't want people doing that, I'm not going to be, I don't, So stand on the porch, wait for somebody, and I don't know. Yeah, everything's changed, and it hasn't changed for the better. So it's like, the internet's broken. This fall of the U.S., Western civilization's crashed. 22222 was a failure. People don't want peace, love, and all that stuff. I mean, sure, there's millions of people that do. But like I say, in the U.S., if there were millions, it wouldn't even be 1%, 1% of the population. And when you look at 8 billion people on the planet, 1 million is like nothing. It isn't even like, is nothing. And did you know, and this is one thing people don't realize, that there is, people used to talk about population explosion. The Earth right now, there's a problem that with population. That's one of the reasons why I'm running over time here, but I maybe I'll continue this conversation tomorrow. But that we're actually, the population is dropping. In other words, we're like kind of we're in one of these things right now where we peaked and then then it's going to be dropping off like a cliff, if you understand how graphs work. So we're like pushing 8 billion and we probably will shoot a little bit higher, but then we're just going to, then it's going to like just drop, like go off the cliff. Because young people aren't having as many kids and there's too many old people. There's not like there's too many of them, but I mean, population-wise, old people are going to start dying. And so at that point, as the old people die and the young people aren't replacing them in numbers, and even countries like China are addressing these issues. And that's one of the reasons why the U.S. is letting 2 million immigrants in. Because, see, the powers that be, they're only concerned about bodies. See, they figure one way or another they're going to get money out of those people. Do you see? That's the part that the average, freeloader doesn't understand. You will be taxed eventually. They may entice you and provide for you and do all this stuff. They may pay you $300 a pop to pop out a kid right now, and there's people doing it. Wait till you see the birth rate next year in the U.S. There'll be a statistical jump, among people trying to collect that $300. But see, the idea is that at some point down the road, assuming that we don't get, zapped, or that just out of neglect, like I say, we have this reactive society instead of proactive. If we don't have a grid down situation and the whole house of cards falls. But assuming that somehow we pull through or survive in some sense, it's still, the future doesn't look bright. And then we've got rampant crime and gangs and all that other stuff and smash and grab and everything else. So there's really no hope. And, yesterday was a thing where we had hope. And, people didn't care. People have come in and out, probably who watched that I was pushing the thing. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. This show's going nowhere. We'll talk about this stuff tomorrow.
Good morning.
Thanks for watching. And I showed you ROCKFLUX earlier in the show. Go to Great Solar Stuff. Get some stuff, peace out and all that stuff, positive thinking, is the best you could do, but take care of you and yours and people around you, service to others instead of service to self. I'm not like going back on anything I've said. I'm just telling you, you got to be a realist among it, among this madness that we're experiencing. I'll talk to you tomorrow, hopefully. Take care. Cheers.